only on Bloomberg Quint.
Good morning. Thanks for tuning in. You're watching the F&O Show on Bloomberg Quint Live, India's first digital live streaming business news service. And I'm Navneet Saluja D'Souza.
Well, good morning, Navneet. This is the F&O Show, but we're going to toss over to ITC right now, where the management is speaking about the earnings as well as the outlook going forward. This is what they're saying. Listen.
On the left, starting from the end, Mr. Habib Rahman, he's a non-executive director of your company. Mr. Arun Dugal, non-executive director of your company. Mrs. Meera Shankar, non-executive director of your company. Mr. S.B. Mathur, non-executive director of your company. Mr. Rajiv Tandon, whole-time director and chief financial officer of your company. On my right, starting from the end, Mr. Nakul Anand, whole-time director of your company. Mr. David Simpson, a non-executive director of your company. Mr. Sheel Bhadra Banerjee, non-executive director of your company. Mr. Sanjeev Puri is the managing director of your company. Mr. John Pulinthanam has not been able to come because of another preoccupation committed by him earlier.
Introduce Mrs. Rao.
Sorry. Sorry, I missed Mrs. Nirupma Rao, non-executive director of the company. My apologies, Nirupma ji.
Well, while the management is being introduced right now, let me just recap the numbers from ITC. At this point in time, we have seen about a 7.6% uptick when it comes to the net sales. And margins have been fairly steady right now, around 37, or rather 39%, well over 39% as against 37% year on year. And that's the reason why the 10% up move when it comes to the profitability on a year-on-year basis is the reason why we've seen that come in line with expectations. Now, as per the estimates on the street, when it comes to the cigarettes business, while there were an anticipation that there could be some decline in cigarette volumes on account of higher taxation, well, we've actually seen, and as per the estimates of a lot of analysts, which suggest that there has actually been an uptick in the volumes for cigarettes. You leave that aside, and perhaps the more important, well, should I say, variable here is the kind of trends that we're starting to see in profitability of the FMCG sector, and that segment is actually starting to show consistent profits on an EBIT level. In this time around, we've seen 50 crores in EBIT coming through as against 5 crores of EBIT coming through on a year-on-year basis, and that is the big positive, especially keeping in mind that ITC has been plowing in a lot of investments into this specific segment. Hotels business is the other one, which has been a surprise. We've seen good strength coming in there as well. And agri businesses and the paperboard business, on the other hand, has been relatively lackluster. But again, expectations are that these segments will also pull up, considering the strong, monsoons that we've seen, thereby providing an impetus from the consumption sector. And on account of that, we're seeing ITC rise as much as nearly 7% at this time. And we must remember that ITC has really not moved in tandem with the other FMCG players over the previous few months. While several of these stocks have been hitting lifetime highs, ITC has just been, well, moving largely range-bound. Today, it seems that it has starting to show an uptick, considering this tremendous strength that we're seeing at this point in time. So, well, on the whole, given the fact that we're starting to see some turnaround in the FMCG business, and that eventually in the long run is something which is going to be the most important, and well, in a few years possibly even as important as the cigarettes business, is the reason why we're seeing that strength come back in ITC right now, trading well over 300 rupees per share. But let's move back and shift in to as to what the management has to say about the outlook going forward.
growing consumption demand and an expected upswing in private capital investment. In the last 2 decades, your company has indeed traversed a remarkable journey of transformation. A vibrant organization has been built with immense vitality that today empowers millions of farmers, delights consumers in both rural and urban markets, and enriches the nation in myriad ways. Building on these foundations, a promising tomorrow is unfolding. A future that is being shaped with the strength of assets and competencies nurtured over the years to secure enduring competitiveness of your company. In this address today, I would like to share with you some of my thoughts on the journey ahead as your company prepares to scale new horizons to create growing value for its stakeholders and the larger Indian society. It is at once humbling and fulfilling to witness how ITC's vision to serve a larger national purpose has now become the very soul of the enterprise.
Okay, that's the management of ITC. We'll keep cutting into that. But as of now, let's also take a look at the markets, which opened at fresh highs today. And we've been gaining strength from even those higher levels. Look at Nifty now. It's inching very closer to the mark of 11,250 as we speak. Sensex also at fresh highs, up almost 300 points in trade. Pull up Bank Nifty. Remember, there was a lot of traction seen for a couple of banks yesterday, especially the Nifty PSU banking index, which gained so much. So that's the Nifty Bank futures for you. Day one of the new series, it's trading at a discount of almost 11 to 12 points. Remember, now I think the all-time high mark on Bank Nifty will be in focus, which is somewhere about 27,652. So not too far behind that. We'll wait if we can gain traction by almost 70 to 75 points, regain or rather reclaim the fresh highs on Bank Nifty. 9% higher in terms of open interest. Let me tell you, the rollovers for Bank Nifty this time around were really good. Yesterday, there was a lot of build-up across the series. Bank Nifty open interest was up nearly 33% compared to Nifty, which was up almost 2%. No, I don't need the rollover play. Thank you for that, because that wouldn't stand true right now. But otherwise, what's doing well in terms of options data today, 11,200 strike has seen a lot of put writing. Not to forget, we've started the series. If you look at the Nifty PCR, we know it was the expiry week. It was inching higher, but still, it's above that overbought territory of 1.7. Yesterday's closing was 1.7. And with today's put writing, I'm sure the number is going to be even higher. 11,200 put, 11,000, 11,100, all of them are seeing open interest addition. And the higher levels out of the money call strikes like 11,400 probably could be seeing some bit of buying momentum. But this is clearly telling you put trading is becoming really easy in this market. But what sort of trends are we seeing with regard to FIs? What's the setup on day one of the new series? Well, if you look at the index futures side, they've started this series by going net long on index futures. The graphics will just come up on your plate. 58% is the ratio that we've seen on the long side with regard to index futures, whereas if you look at the options, that's the index options side of the data of the FIs, we've seen they bought more of puts and also they have written more of puts. As you can see that data right now, that's the FIs in index option space. Put long 61%, put short 68%.
All right, let's take a look at those stocks which are actually moving in trade right now in terms of substantial surge in open interest in the new series, where we will have the list on your screen right now. And of course, along with the fact that Hindalco has moved after its announcement of the deal up 13% in open interest, we're seeing longs there. Kaveri Seed Company has also picked up another 11% added there, even as the stock advances by as much as 3.3%. V-Guard and Ajanta Pharma also advancing in trade and also seeing substantial increase in open interest towards fresh long positions. So we're seeing some traction there as well. And BPCL continues to grind lower. And we have seen some weakness in IOC, BPCL, HPCL yesterday, as the same today, where more shorts being added. And at this point in time, we aren't really seeing too much unwinding in Navneet, considering it is the new expiry or the new series. But Hindalco and Kaveri Seed Company are the two stocks that I'll be keeping on my list today.
Clearly, Agam, and we'll try and get some views going from our technical experts on that. But before we get our guest in the show, here's a reminder for you all. If you have any queries right now in the futures and options market, please call us now. The details are there on your screen. Call us on 022-4540-4141. Write to us on our social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, and also YouTube with AskPQ hashtag. Okay, let's welcome our experts then. Jain Thakkar of Anand, Rathi, and Ruchit Jain of Angel Broking are here with us. Good morning to both of you, gentlemen. Appreciate you having us appreciate both of you coming on our F&O show once again. Jay, how's the setup looking? Fresh highs again on day one of the August series. What's the kind of positioning that you're witnessing right now?
Hi, good morning everyone. Definitely looks good. Everything looks good as expected, as anticipated. It has been moving higher. Last time when we had talk, or discussion on the same on Nifty, I said that fresh highs are expected. We have seen that coming in yesterday's trading session. In fact, today the momentum is continuing on the upside, and 11,400 was my medium-term target, which seems now to be achieving. And wherein most of the people were bearish at that time and looking for a dip or a consolidation going forward. We had anticipated a good breakout on the upside, and it has come so. As far as Bank Nifty is concerned, here too we expected a good breakout on the upside. It has come so as anticipated. It's now inching towards this lifetime high, as you were just saying, a while ago. So yes, Bank Nifty too is likely to inch towards this previous highs, and will take off that also with a very high probability. I'm saying that, and it can reach to a levels of 27,750, 28,000. Nifty target remains to 11,400.
All right, so that's Jay's strategy, and of course that remains positive. But Ruchit, good morning to you as well. How are you viewing trade on the indices right now?
Yeah, hi, very good morning. Certainly during this week on Monday itself, we had seen a breakout from a consolidation on Nifty, and post that we have been advising to create long positions. As of now, today's move just seemed to be a continuation of this uptrend. So I think we are even now we are advising to hold on to the long positions. Since the market is at all-time high, usually reciprocal retracements are used to come to the target projection, and 127% retracement of the previous up move, previous corrective move is coming around 11,430 to 11,440. So we believe that markets would continue this momentum up to 11,430 to 440. From an intraday perspective, 11,270 should be seen, because that could be a minor resistance just from an intraday perspective. Secondly, if you also see the derivatives data, then Nifty rollovers are much higher than last 3 months averages. Even Bank Nifty rollovers are higher than last 3 months averages. FI's long short ratio has surged higher from 35 to 58. At the start of last series, they were net long. The long short ratio was around 35, and now it's at the start of this series it's 58. So this clearly indicates that during this entire last series also they have created long positions, and since the rollovers are high, that they have rolled their long positions too. Now if we come at the options data, 11,000 put option now is the highest open interest, and now today if you see the 11,200 put option is also attracting traders attention, and 11,500 call option has the highest open interest on the higher side. So clearly the base itself has shifted higher. The support base now for this series starts with 11,000 put 100 being 11,000 put being the one with the highest open interest. So 11,000 now should be a good support base for this series. So any kind of declines which we in case we get, there's all those declines should be used as a buying opportunity. Still we are above 11,000 mark, and we should expect targets around 11,440.
Okay, so the setup is looking pretty good on day one of the August series, and we are getting some positive cues as well. Jay, let's talk about the individual stock futures then. Which are the stocks in today's trade that you will be betting on?
Well, there are 3 buy recommendations from my side, 2 on the future side and 1 on the cash segment side. The buy first recommendation is on PD Light. I'm expecting a target of 1145 to 1165 in a short time frame of around say 2-3 days. And second buy recommendation is on UG1 for a target of 402 with a stop loss of 4 and a second target will be 408. Now the stop loss for PD Light will be 1108, so the target is 1125 to 45. Hence the stop loss is that is 1108. For UG1 where the target is 402 to 408, the stop loss there will be 388. Now one buy recommendation I have is from cash segment, and that's on Cerebra. I think Cerebra is quite likely to inch towards the upper end of the rising channel in which it has been moving, and the stock is steadily performing quite well. the volumes have been good and it has provided a breakout from a clear downtrend line resistance. So we have a buy recommendation on Cerebra for a target of 80 with a stop loss of 57.
All right, so a few ideas coming in from Jay, but Ruchit, how about you? What stocks are you trading or betting on in today's day of trade?
There's a couple of buy recommendations that there. One is similar to what Jay said, that is Ujjivan. Even we are recommending to go long on Ujjivan, but my targets are a bit aggressive because on the weekly chart the stock seemed to have formed a very strong support base at the recent lows of 368, because it's the weekly 89 EMA which has been the lower end of the recent consolidation phase. So go long on Ujjivan from a short to medium term perspective. Keep a stop loss below 382. We should see targets around 416. And my second pick is a buy call in Kaveri Seeds. A high top, high bottom structure is there in Kaveri Seeds. Again, post a minor corrective move in last 2-3 trading sessions, the stock is again resuming its uptrend. Today, if we see along with the price move, the open interest has been increasing significantly. I think around 11% open interest, which has been seen in today's trading session, in today's first hour itself. So go long on Kaveri Seeds, keeping stop loss below 583 for target around 665.
Okay, those are individual stock futures for the day, but let's discuss the biggie which is taking the index higher in today's session, and that's ITC, the stock which Agam was highlighting. The numbers were pretty good surprise when it came to the volume growth from the cigarette space, 6% higher, almost 4.5 to 5% weightage on Nifty. If you look at the open interest, that's up nearly 5 to 6% right now in trade. Jay, this is the stock which was underperforming its FMCG peers. For the longest time, it was languishing in that range of 250 to almost 275. It's broken out. It's now trading above that mark of 300. Does it warrant a fresh trade here on the long side now?
Absolutely. In fact, we were recommending this as well, that not recommending aggressively, but our viewers were positive that this consolidation is likely to provide a breakout on the upside, and once it provides a breakout, the momentum will be seen on the higher side. It has formed a good base triangular pattern and has provided a breakout above the levels of 286. Now, it is inching towards the levels of say almost 320, wherein we had seen that gap down opening on ITC. So that gap will be filled now. So 320 is the target, 285 should be the stop loss.
All right, there you have it. So that's Jay's view on ITC, of course, which continues to advance and is showing a lot of strength in today's day of trade. And, we actually do have a query as well on ITC, if I'm not mistaken. And because we're talking about ITC, I'm just going to toss this over and take Ruchit's view on this one as well. We have Bikash Pekari on YouTube. He writes to us that he does have one lot of ITC and okay, this is strike price of 295, and I bought it at around 11.4. I'm certain he's making some amount of profit at this point in time, considering he's bought the 295 call right now. So can we take a look at this specific 295 call when it comes to ITC? That's the August series. Of course, he has not mentioned whether or not this is a call or a put, but I'm assuming that this is a call at this point in time. Ruchit, can we take your views as well on ITC, and what kind of traction are you expecting going forward?
The gap up openings have been seen. In fact, not only today, if you see this entire week, the stock has been in a positive momentum, and that too after a long period of consolidation phase. So this movement is likely to continue going ahead, since if he's holding a 295 call option, he should continue to hold. On the cash side, if the stock comes around 312 to 315 range, he can look to book profits around those. So continue to hold. Watch out the NSE cash levels. When the stock comes around 312, you can book profit at those levels.
Okay, that's the view on ITC, but we're getting a lot more of your queries. One of our viewers, he's bought Bank Nifty call option, and I think the strike is 27,400. He's bought 10 lots for intraday trade today. I don't know the premium he's paid right now, but he wants a view on this 27,400 call strike on Bank Nifty. Let's just pull up the Bank Nifty futures. Remember, we highlighted the rollovers have been on the higher side, and we've seen some good traction considering yesterday's rally that one saw. So underlying now at 27,600 for Bank Nifty. Ruchit, what would you advise if somebody's bought the 27,400 call strike of Bank Nifty for intraday trade?
Certainly, the trend looks to be positive for Bank Nifty on intraday basis. We should see levels around 27,650, which were the highs of January 2018. So continue to hold on from an intraday perspective, but I would rather recommend to hold it for another 3-4 trading sessions, because the kind of momentum that some of the index heavyweights have been seeing, specifically names such as ICICI Bank, Axis Bank, which were the recent beaten down names, I think they should lift the index further higher in next 3 to 4 trading sessions. So for intraday perspective, hold for targets around 27,650 in Bank Nifty index, and in case if we can keep another 3 to 4 trading sessions, then we can see this index testing 27,700 to 750 range.
Okay, that's the view coming in as far as the Nifty Bank is concerned. And among other queries that we have, so we do also have a question on Tata Motors. On Facebook, we have Jagdish Pala, and his question is, what is the options view on Tata Motors? Let's take a look at Tata Motors and see what it's currently doing at. Of course, as we all know, the Tata Motors has seen substantial volatility over the previous few months, I would say, and it's seen a lot of weakness. It's seen a lot of drop. It's currently trading at 264, and over the previous few days, we've seen a little bit of a recovery coming along as well. It's up as much as 2%, but really still well below its daily moving averages and several other technical indicators. But I'm going to toss this over to Jay. Jay, firstly, what is your view on Tata Motors? And if you were to play an options strategy on Tata Motors, what would it be? Because the viewer here wants to know about how to employ options when it comes to Tata Motors right now.
See, Tata Motors is clearly in a downtrend. Nifty and Tata Motors. If you look at these two charts, sometimes you'll feel that are they? Is this a currency chart and a Nifty chart, or is it a stock chart and a Nifty chart when you compare both of them? Because Tata Motors is just sliding and Nifty has been forming high tops and high bottoms. So it's absolutely, we have been seeing that there is an inverse correlation which has been happening, and in fact there is no correlation, in fact I would say, at all, because Tata Motors has not seen that kind of a reversal. Once that reversal happens, we can think of buying options and having a bullish strategy on it. As of now, I think on Tata Motors, now see, the index has taken off its previous highs, so the overall momentum is up. So the idea for Tata Motors is that this stock is weak. One thing is very clear: whenever market corrects, at that point of time, a bearish strategy should be actually adopted for these kind of stocks, which actually fall more when the market gets weak. When the market is strong, these stocks either bounce back, either they go sideways. So my point of view is avoid Tata Motors as of now. And whenever you see Nifty, in fact, reversing from the high levels, maybe from intraday levels or maybe from positional levels, I think the one strategy that I would say is buy naked ATM put options whenever at that time Tata Motors is trading at, or buy bear put spread. By buying one strike put option, maybe most of the time ATM put options, and selling one or two strike lower than that. So in order to minimize the risk. As of now, Tata Motors is absolutely in a no trade zone, I would say. And as far as the levels are concerned, technical levels are concerned, then I would say that 280 is a very crucial resistance on the upside. If those levels get taken off, then we can see some reversal happening in Tata Motors. Else, I would say it's still in a downside.
Sure. Okay, so that's the view on Tata Motors. Before I go on to taking more queries, I just want to pull up the chart of Biocon. Remember, the earnings had come yesterday, and we've seen a good increase coming in for Biocon in today's trading session. In fact, that's the top F&O security for the day, up almost 9% in trade. Very quickly, Ruchit, trading above the mark of 600 now. Would you take any fresh trade here?
If you see, after the recent correction, yesterday's price was just around its 200-day moving average, which has not been breached since a long period of time on a closing basis. So I think that the trend still continues to be positive, and today's up move has been supported by good volumes. Going fresh longs at current levels, I don't think there would be a good risk-reward ratio for this. So wait for some kind of declines. If you get the stock around 580 to 585 range, those would be ideally good levels to again enter fresh in Biocon.
Okay, we're just going to divert a bit and address earnings from yet another company. We have Shemaroo Entertainment, and the company reported a 19% growth in its June quarter top line. And to talk about the quarter, let's chat with the CEO, Hiren Gada, right now. Hiren, good morning and thank you so much for joining us. From the numbers, I am looking at substantial improvement when it comes to your revenues, and of course margins have also remained steady for you guys. Again, we've seen profits rise as much as 23%. If you could tell us about how this quarter has gone by and among the factors that have led to the strength this time around.
So we normally look at our revenue in two parts, the traditional revenue and then the digital revenue. So this year definitely the traditional revenue has grown very well in double digits. So overall on the back of our own customers, the broadcasters, their own ad revenues and various other revenue sources have gone up. So their investment in content has definitely been on the rise. And digital media continues to grow very strongly. We've done 36% plus growth in the digital media. Again on the back of some phenomenal growth in the overall landscape where the digital video consumers have expanded significantly post the introduction of Jio and all other 4G introductions.
Hiren, I'm just looking at the breakup as you highlighted digital media and traditional media revenue. So traditional media revenue basically it's the double of the digital media revenue, but a lot of talk around the digital media now. What sort of numbers, any internal targets that you guys are setting going into throughout FY19 or FY20? How much growth can one expect from this side of the business?
So overall, if we see the industry projections made by various experts and the analytical companies, they've been talking of between 20 and 25% CAGR growth for the digital segment, the digital media over 5 years. We've been growing, in fact, faster than the industry, and that's would be our target, that we should be growing faster than that. And in our own thought is that at some point digital media should be equal or even higher than the traditional media. Now whether that comes in the next 3 years, 4 years, it's it's anyone's guess.
Hiren, when I also look at the margins, do you think that margins are largely equal at this point in time between traditional and digital? Because your margins have actually come off slightly, but we've seen growth twice as much, or actually 3 times as much in the digital media as compared to traditional media. So how is this margins picture panning out for the company?
No, overall, definitely the margins for digital media is slightly higher than the company average. But this year there have been certain cost push factors both on the content side and on other aspects. So we have invested heavily in, for example, our team people manpower. So we've added a lot of good talent from various peer organizations or various other companies. So we've actually expanded that, obviously anticipating and building up for our future growth plans. But the cost is obviously being booked now. So that these are the kind of things that have definitely led to a certain tempering of the margins.
Hiren, just a final question from my side. The company has been working towards reducing its debt. We've seen the numbers coming off by end of FY18, and I presume your long-term debt is pretty low. But overall, what's the trajectory now going ahead with regard to the debt picture? What levels can we expect by FY19? And are you looking out for any fundraising plans?
No, at this point there is no fundraising plan. Our core library build-up or investment phase kind of got over last year. At this point, we are able to fund all our further acquisitions requirements or further content requirements from internal accruals, and there is additional cash flow that is being generated. So the overall trajectory for the debt is definitely downward. On a year-on-year basis. There may be a few quarter here and there, but if we look at it on an annual basis, the thought is that it should be coming off. How much it would come off will depend on many operating parameters and factors in terms of how certain segments receive. So it's very difficult to predict how much it would come off at this point in time.
Well, it certainly has been a very steady quarter for you, Hiren. But thank you so much for joining us and taking us through the earnings for Shemaroo, which is actually trending higher as well when it comes to stock price. But with that, we're going to quickly shift focus back to the F&O market and take quickly some trends that our experts are viewing. So, Ruchit, I'm going to come to you. Are there any interesting trends that you witnessed in the last 10, 15 odd minutes that you'd like to talk to us about?
Yeah, I would discuss 2 or 3 ideas, which are which are on the verge of breakout, and we could see a positive momentum. First is Bharti Airtel. Post results yesterday, although the opening was quite flat, but post opening we had seen a good momentum again building it. And today's volumes have almost crossed what we usually have seen in last 2-3 trading sessions on an entire day. So go long on Bharti Airtel at current levels. One can even go through options in 370 or 375 call options. On the stock levels, I am expecting level around 390 in very short term. So this is one of the stock which one should look to create fresh long positions. Cholamandalam Finance is one of the other stock which should be kept on radar. It is on the verge of breakout from a recent falling trendline resistance. The breakout is placed at 1590. So if it goes above 1590, then one can create long on Cholamandalam Finance as well.
Okay, that's Bharti Airtel and Cholamandalam. Jay, what about you? On your screen, is there anything interesting that's popping up?
3 recommendations which I've given of that, I would say Ujjivan is my top call for a target of 402, 408, 410. These are the levels. 388 will be the stop loss.
All right. With that, I'm going to thank both our experts, Ruchit as well as Jay, for joining us and taking us through their views as well as solving some of our viewer queries. And we're shifting back focus to Quess Corp then, which has reported a strong set of numbers in the June quarter with a 52% jump in its top line. What were the key factors aiding the growth? Let's ask the management. Joining us on the phone line right now is the Group CEO, Subrata Kumar Nag. Subrata, good morning and thank you so much for joining us. Once again, your largest segment, that is the Peoples and Services segment, which contributes to well over 50% of your revenues, has grown well. Can we expect these trends to continue, especially given the large base that we are now starting to work with?
I think this people and services business, we are always very strong, and it is the business what we started with, and it is entirely an organic play by us. And I strongly believe that the growth trajectory will remain intact at least for next 3 to 5 years. Reasons being, that we have started seeing that the movement from the unorganized sector to organized sector is taking, momentum after GST. And also we see that generally, another thing what happened, this apprenticeship program, what we started last quarter, and in one quarter itself we have added 3,000 people, and we are seeing a lot of traction there. And sectors like manufacturing, retail are opening up to the staffing or flexi staffing, requirement in a more greater proportionate that previously they used to do. So I don't see any reason that in the next at least 3 years this momentum will be reduced anyway.
Right, and your other major segment, that is Global Technology Solution, has also grown well with substantial expansion in margins as well. Can we expect strength to continue and sustain in this specific segment too?
As you are aware that in our technology business, we have added our customer lifecycle management, that is the KPO, BPO side. And there with the company we acquired from Tata Sons, we have been seeing very strong growth there. We have ventured out into international geography in Middle East and Vietnam, and internally also in India we seeing good growth. So that will be one of our strong vehicle in growing the technology business. Our staffing, IT staffing business in India, Singapore remains stable. The growth is in a normal growth. I don't see any supernormal growth coming there. But I am seeing little more traction in our US staffing business. We started I think, couple of quarters back, and that could be another area where we will be seeing strong growth in coming days.
Finally, Subrata, we've seen you guys do a lot of acquisitions over the previous few quarters, but what is the acquisition strategy now, and what kind of opportunities are you guys seeking at this point in time, keeping in mind the objectives that you have?
As on date, in the last couple of quarters, we acquired Monster, then from HCL, the DigiCare, which is the mobile repairing services, and the Greenpeace in the landscaping. So these are the three new entity we have. So all focuses are there to turning around this business and take this business to a newer height. And post that, definitely we are always looking for new opportunities. We will be looking, but as on today, I don't think we have anything. We are looking very seriously on the acquisition front. Our primary focus to turn around Monster and expand the DigiCare business in the mobile and consumer durables repairing and maintenance services.
Right, Subrata, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining us and taking us through the quarter's numbers. And well, there you have it. It is declining, but we must remember that Quess Corp has had a tremendous run on a year-to-date basis, as well as over the past 1 year when it comes to returns, moving in tandem perhaps with its closest peer in the listed space, that is Team Lease. So strength coming through, and well, that's very evident in the kind of price action that we've seen for Quess Corp. As far as Nifty is concerned, of course, it continues to advance, and well, we are ending this show on a positive note. So it's a wrap in this edition of the F&O Show. But lots more lined up, so stay tuned in a Bloomberg Quint.